Next up, we're going to go to the Sunshine State, to Sunshine Gold, ASX code SHN. Joining me today, or joining us today, I should say, Damien Keys, Managing Director. Damien, tell us what's been going on with Sunshine Gold. Lots and lots of drilling going on, from what I understand.
Indeed, Kerry. Thanks for having us again. Yeah, lots of activity in the land of sunshine. So we'll go through it today. Just go through standard disclaimer. Just a very quick snapshot of the corporate overview, key points. So that we're worth about 25 mil market cap. You've got 4.9 million cash in bank, so we're funded, ready to continue maintain the rage. And the directors contributed a fair bit to this point. Our board is comprised of myself, Paul Chapman, Les Davis from Silver Lake days, Alec Pismiris and Anthony Torreson. So plenty of experience, been there, done it before, especially in the gold sector. Why sunshine? What have we got going on? Well, we've got a maiden JORC resource due on our Triumph Gold project. Will be out in March this year. We've got some drilling results from our latest round of drilling. Should be out to market next week. We've got an emerging copper silver moly story at Titov at Ravenswood West, where we've got some IP surveys about to commence. We've located some historic drill core from 1969 that we're pulling out next week. So big saving where you don't have to drill that diamond core yourself, and big learnings from that.
But Damien, just a point on that. Are you saying that there hasn't been much work done out here since the late 60s?
No, so our Ravenswood project has been really underdone in about the last 50 years.
Wow.
Particularly in this Titov belt. There's a belt of about 15 kilometres where there's been no drilling taking place in that time frame. So it's really underdone. It's pretty much the story of Queensland.
Yeah.
A lot of expenditure spending, a lot of money spent in the west, but not a lot of expenditure in ground in Queensland itself. So there's big opportunity there. We've got an emerging rare earth and gold story at a prospect called Elphinston Creek, also at Ravenswood, and it's on the southern end of that 15-kilometre long belt. We've done some soils out there. We've got some further soils and mapping to do. We'll be recommencing that in March also. As we discussed, we've got cash in the bank. We've been highly active. We've drilled over 25 kilometres since we listed in December 2020. Our projects are all located in Queensland, where we've got a big foothold in the Ravenswood Charters Towers district. So it's a 20 million ounce district, incredibly endowed. And as we've just discussed as well, there's been very little work on ground or in ground across our 400 square k's out there. We've got ground. Triumph is down in amongst mines such as Mount Rawdon, Krakow, and a few of the other decent ounce positions. And I guess importantly, we've got leverage to multiple metals. So Sunshine Gold probably doesn't do us justice at the moment. We've got exposure to the copper, the moly, the rare earths, and of course, gold itself. So the projects throughout Queensland, we've got 4 key project areas. 2 are taking up the bulk of our time, are our most advanced and the projects we're really driving forward, and that's Triumph, so just south of the Port of Gladstone, and Ravenswood West, which is about 120 kilometres south of Townsville. In Townsville, we've got our main office in Townsville, technical team based up here, so we live and work amongst our projects. Investigators, a fantastic early stage copper project in the western succession of Mount Isa inlier. We won't talk about that today, but it's also seeing its first fieldwork commencing in the next couple of weeks. And we've got the Hodgkinson Gold Project, sits over the back of the range from Cairns, in and around the Mount Carbine tin tungsten area, largely explored for tungsten historically and hasn't really had the love for gold. They're both early stage. We won't go into those in too much detail. Triumph. So we'll have a look at Triumph, as I discussed, just south of Gladstone. Gladstone's one of the largest ports on the Queensland coast and a large mining hub servicing both the gold and coal sectors. We completed 7,000 metres of drilling last year with some stunning early success at Super Hans, Big Hans and New Constitution. And we've gone back there, completed 9,300 metres of RC and diamond with a view to releasing a JORC resource, a maiden JORC resource for the project in March. So the initial drilling that we did do, we really did intersect really nice thicknesses, grades, and importantly at a really shallow depth. So this is really significant mineralisation that we're talking about.
They're big numbers there, Damien. Goodness me. So this is shallow. You're talking 12 metres at 13.4 grams per tonne of gold.
Yeah, these are really shallow numbers. So these lodes essentially poke their head out of the surface, and if they don't, they're only buried by about a metre or a metre and a half of cover. So it's just enough to obscure the underlying lodes, but there's certainly great thicknesses and really impressive grades, particularly from an open cut perspective.
So what do you, sorry to keep interrupting you, but I'm quite excited about these numbers. Not done that much work around here. Are you expecting this to be, oh, I shouldn't say it, but the favoured child? I mean, it looks pretty exciting.
Oh, it's certainly our most advanced project, and we're really buoyed by the drilling that we've done to date, and certainly it's continuing now that we're moving into an infill phase. We're seeing the same mineralisation styles as we saw in this round of drilling. We're looking forward to getting those numbers out.
Yeah.
But important just to put some meat on the bone and show that we've got a real gold system down in the Triumph project. So it's a nice intrusion-related system. The magnetics over here show a pink blob, essentially, which has been chopped in half by a large fault, the Norton Fault, right? And we're looking at a zone in particular, the Southern Corridor. So it sits down in this slightly yellow zone. The yellow is telling us that we've had fluid flow, mineralisation, and it's a key area for us at the moment. This is where the bulk of the resource will be put in March. So our drilling that we've just done, we've had 2 RC rigs operating in tandem to try and expedite this drilling, so we can keep on track with this March delivery date. And we had 1 rig working south, so it did the extensional work on Big Hans. It's done the infill drilling, and then it's moved down into Super Hans. And the other rigs started on a new prospect that we identified in our first round of drilling called South Constitution, where we hit 6 metres at 13 grams a tonne. So it's a nice fat intersection of really high grade mineralisation. We've drilled in and around that, and the rig then progressed up to the northwest, up into the New Constitution system. So this is a story, it's a sum of the parts story, but we do believe the parts have a really good likelihood of coalescing into one bigger network and eventually becoming quite a large system in its own right. So we look forward to giving you more information about the latest rounds of drilling and certainly culminating in that resource in March.
Very exciting.
Ravenswood West, so our other key project area, just adjacent to the Ravenswood gold mine. So it's it's just become Queensland's biggest gold mine, with a 9.8 million ounce mined and resource. So it's about that 10 million ounce position. They're spending a significant amount of money upgrading the milling capacity, dewatering the old pit, and doing a massive cutback on that pit. So it's a large investment in a district that's produced over 20 million ounces of gold historically. We've got a fantastic land position, and it really is, given where we are and the nature of what we're seeing around us, really is underexplored. And it is prospective for the intrusion related, the orogenic gold, but also these porphyry copper, gold, silver, moly systems and rare earth mineralisation. So this is probably the main area we've been working on to date. It's about a 15-kilometre long zone of high copper, silver, and moly anomalism, and we are seeing gold kicking around these systems at Gagarin and Keys, two of the prospects along the belt. As you move right down to the south, we've got a prospect called Elphinston Creek, which is our rare earth gold emerging story. And right in the top corner, we've got Titov. So we're going to be doing more work over the next couple of months on the Titov down to Wilbur's Hill corridor. We've got a lot of geophysics about to start, so induced polarisation surveys, and it's going to be a key focus area. So why Titov? What's significant about Titov? It's a large hill devoid of any vegetation. So it's this big barren patch in the middle that's not cleared. That's just the way the hill is, and it's got veining, quartz veining, and copper staining throughout that surface area. There were some historic drill results from 1969, some diamond drilling done in the 60s. There's been no work done since, and until we've come in and put 8 RC holes, so white dots throughout, and we drilled one deep diamond hole which came in under the whole system. What we've seen is pretty consistent thicknesses and grades. So we're seeing typically in that sort of around that 100 metre thickness of 0.35 to 0.4% copper with significant molybdenum mineralisation. Now this, at the moment, we haven't intersected gold within the system, but there is gold at surface in rock chip sampling. So we've got a 2 gram per tonne and a 0.7 gram rock chip, and we've got a significant gold in soil anomaly out to the east. And significantly,
1 minute left, Damien.
Sorry?
1 minute.
No worries. And significantly, we've located these holes. So next week, we're actually pulling out DDH7 and DDH5, the historic holes, which extend our knowledge another 150 metres to the east. And they were never assayed for gold. They're only assayed for copper and moly. So big potential. We're not drilling the extra holes there. Here's how the diamond hole looks. So we are seeing lots of shiny rocks, lots of molybdenum and copper. So the copper being the gold stuff, chalcopyrite, and the molybdenite is the silver. And the distal alteration is this real red rock alteration. So we've got an overprint in this system. Elphinston Creek, it's the last prospect I'm going to talk about. It's very early stage, but we've got historic stream sediment samples with really impressive rare earth grades, and importantly, most of it is neodymium and praseodymium, or a large proportion, which is where 90% of the rare earth value is kept.
All righty.
Yeah, and in those, we're also seeing elevated stream sediment gold up to 6.3 grams a tonne. We'll be working our way back to the south through that area. So that's, in a nutshell, that's Sunshine Gold, a maiden JORC resource on Triumph coming up, plenty of work coming up on Titov, the assays pending on the diamond hole, IP surveys about to kick off, and historic core resampling due in February as well.
Thanks, Damien. A really, really good presentation. And by the way, the numbers at that Titov, oh, very impressive. Keep going. I'll be really interested to see how big that that project gets. So thanks so much, and we'll see you in the Zoom networking at the end of today.
Thanks, Kerry.